Imagine a world vastly different from today, where early humans roamed in small groups, surviving on hunting and gathering. The skies were clear, the land stretched endlessly, and nature thrived in its rawest form. But then, something happened that changed everything. 74,000 years ago, in what is now modern-day Indonesia, the Earth unleashed one of its most powerful and devastating events, the Toba Supervolcanic eruption. This was no ordinary volcanic explosion. It was an apocalypse in the making. The Toba volcano, located on the island of Sumatra, had been building pressure for thousands of years. Deep beneath the Earth's crust, molten rock churned violently, seeking an escape. Then in one cataclysmic moment, the volcano erupted with a force so immense that it shook the entire planet. It began with a thunderous roar, a sound so deafening that it shattered the silence of the ancient world. Animals bolted in terror, birds took to the skies only to be swallowed by thick, rising clouds of ash. The earth trembled violently as the ground beneath Toba ripped open, spewing molten rock and fire into the air. Then came the shockwave, a force so powerful that trees were flattened in an instant, their trunks snapping like twigs. The explosion hurled volcanic debris thousands of kilometers away, scorching everything in its path. Rivers boiled, forests ignited, and the very air became thick with sulfur and ash. Within hours, a colossal mushroom cloud of smoke and debris rose nearly 50 kilometers into the sky, towering over the land like a dark, wrathful god. The sun, once a golden beacon of warmth, vanished behind an endless black veil. The world was plunged into a suffocating darkness, as if night had swallowed the earth, not for hours or days, but for years. The thick volcanic ash, now spreading across continents, blotted out the sun's rays, turning midday into an eerie twilight. Temperatures plummeted, crops withered, and animals perished in the cold. Acid rain began to fall, burning plants and poisoning water sources. The skies, once blue and open, became an endless, suffocating expanse of gray. For the early humans, it was the beginning of a nightmare. The familiar rhythms of nature were gone, the warmth of the sun, the guiding light of the moon, even the stars that had once lit up the night, all erased in an instant. The only certainty was the relentless cold, hunger, and the struggle to survive in a world where the sky itself had turned against them. As the skies darkened and temperatures plummeted, life on Earth was thrown into chaos. The once thriving forests and grasslands became barren wastelands, buried under layers of ash. Rivers and lakes, poisoned by acid rain, turned into toxic graveyards for fish and other aquatic life. The air itself was thick with dust and sulfur, making every breath a struggle. For early humans, who had no shelter strong enough to withstand such devastation, survival became a battle against an unforgiving world. Food sources vanished, plants withered and died without sunlight, and animals, struggling to find food themselves, either perished or migrated far away. Those who depended on hunting and gathering were left with nothing but starvation and desperation. But the worst was yet to come. As the ash cloud spread across the globe, the sun's warmth was trapped, causing temperatures to drop drastically. Scientists believe that the global temperature fell by as much as 3 to 5 degrees Celsius, and in some regions, the drop was even more extreme. This triggered what is now called a volcanic winter, a period where the Earth's climate mimicked the conditions of an ice age. Rainfall patterns shifted, turning lush lands into dry, cracked deserts. Glaciers expanded, swallowing entire landscapes. Storms raged and strong winds carried toxic ash across vast distances, affecting places as far as Africa and Australia. It is believed that the Toba eruption brought humanity to the edge of extinction. Before the catastrophe, early Homo sapiens were scattered across Africa and parts of Asia. But after the eruption, their numbers were drastically reduced. Some scientists estimate that fewer than 10,000 individuals survived worldwide, with some theories suggesting an even more terrifying number, as low as 1,000 to 3,000 people. Imagine a world where every step outside could mean choking on ash, where every meal was uncertain, and where the very air burned your throat. These survivors had to endure unthinkable hardship. For possibly 1,000 years, humanity teetered on the edge. One more disaster, one more misstep, and we might not be here today to tell this story. But even in the worst of times, our ancestors fought to survive. They adapted. Some groups learned to store food, others moved toward the coasts, where marine life still provided sustenance. The few fertile lands that remained became lifelines. Slowly, as the years passed, the skies began to clear, the sun's warmth returned, and the earth started to heal. Vegetation began to grow again, animals returned, and the human survivors, our ancestors, began to rebuild their lives. Had they not endured, the world as we know it would not exist. The Toba catastrophe was one of the greatest challenges humanity has ever faced, but it was also proof of something extraordinary, our unbreakable will to survive. The Toba eruption had left the world in ruins. Entire ecosystems had collapsed, lands were buried under thick layers of ash, and the very climate of the planet had been altered. The Earth had turned into a hostile, frozen wasteland, where life struggled to reclaim its place. But as centuries passed, nature, resilient and unyielding, began to heal. The dense, suffocating ash clouds that had blocked the sun for years finally began to disperse. The first rays of sunlight, weak but persistent, broke through the gray skies, bringing warmth back to the land. Temperatures slowly began to rise, melting glaciers that had formed in unexpected regions. Rain returned, washing away the layers of toxic dust, allowing plants to take root once more. Volcanic eruptions, despite their destructive force, also enriched the soil with nutrients. Over time, the very ground that had once been barren became fertile again, giving birth to new forests, grasslands, and rivers teeming with life. For the small number of humans who had managed to endure this catastrophe, the world they knew had changed forever. Their survival had not been easy. They had huddled in caves, fed on whatever scraps they could find, and migrated across harsh landscapes in search of food. But they had survived, and now it was time to rebuild. Where the mighty volcano once stood, a massive crater remained, filled over time by rainwater and melting glaciers. This crater became what we now call Lake Toba, one of the largest volcanic lakes in the world. Beneath its tranquil waters, the remnants of one of the greatest disasters in human history still rest. It serves as a silent monument to the past, a reminder of the day when the earth tried to erase us, and yet we endured. The Toba catastrophe left a permanent mark on human history. Some scientists believe that the event caused a genetic bottleneck, reducing the diversity of our species and shaping our evolutionary path. In a way, all of us today are descendants of the few who made it through that dark, frozen time. But perhaps the greatest legacy of Toba is not just in our genes, it is in our spirit. It is proof that even when faced with the worst devastation, humans have the ability to adapt, fight, and rebuild. From the ashes of destruction, we rose again, stronger, wiser, and more determined to survive. And so, from the depths of destruction, humanity rose once more. The Toba eruption was one of the greatest challenges our species ever faced, a disaster so immense it nearly wiped us out. Yet against all odds, our ancestors endured. Their resilience, their struggle, and their survival are the reasons we exist today. Every breath we take, every step we walk, is a testament to their will to live. But Toba's story is also a reminder. Nature is powerful, unpredictable, and unforgiving. Supervolcanoes still exist, and another eruption could happen again. The question is, if the Earth tests us once more, will we be ready to survive? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this story fascinating, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more mind-blowing stories from history. Until next time, stay curious, stay prepared,